Hey everybody, this is Bill. I am the salty old Marine. You don't look disabled. Yeah, that's something I hear fairly frequently, and I've heard other veterans have heard this as well. And man, I don't like it. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Here's the problem. And by the way, this applies to a lot of folks, not just veterans who are disabled veterans. It applies to a lot of folks. You know, you see a car and it pulls up to a grocery store and it pulls into a handicapped spot, and the driver gets out, and maybe they've got handicap plates on their car, maybe they've got a hang tag, and they get out and they walk into the store, and you might think to yourself, he doesn't look disabled. He's walking okay. He's pretty sprightly. He's a young person. There's nothing wrong with him. Why is he using a handicapped spot? Now, that might be just a natural inclination. That may be part of the human condition. We look at other people and we judge them. And we say, I'm not sure they're not cheating the system. Of course, we don't know that. We have no idea what their disability is or isn't. Maybe they are cheating the system. Maybe they're driving their dad's car and their dad is disabled and they just decided to make use of that handicap tag or whatever. You know, that would be bad, right? But it's not really for us to judge, is it? I mean, are we wearing a badge? Are we cops? Is that citizen's arrest? I don't consider it any of my business, but other people do. By the same token, sometimes veterans get a disability rating, and sometimes veterans talk about that. They might talk about it to their friends or to their family, coworkers, and not everybody takes that the right way or the same way. Some might say, hey man, that's great for you. That's fantastic. I know you served in the military and I didn't realize you had a disability, but listen, I'm glad you're being taken care of. And if the VA's helping you out with a couple of bucks, man, that's awesome. They might, and they might not. They might be talking to each other, talking to the wife or the kids and say, that Bill, that salty old Marine at work, he talks about that VA disability that he gets and he looks okay to me. He actually works out in a dojo. He does karate and stuff. I mean, how is that disabled? Why is he getting a disability? I think he's committing fraud. I think he's cheating the system. And that probably goes on a lot more than people think. By the way, that's a really valid reason to keep your disability to yourself. Nobody needs to know. It's what it is. Funny thing is, there are plenty of people out there who are receiving disability from insurance companies for car accidents, for slip and fall accidents, for all kinds of different things, right? There are people receiving inheritances. There are people receiving money from sweepstakes and from lotteries. And unless they tell you about it, you don't know about it. And do we go through a questioning period where we say, gosh, that guy's got money coming in every year because he won the lottery? I don't think that's right because he has some extra money and I don't have that extra money and I work hard. Arr! No, we don't really do that usually. It's a stroke of luck. Yay, you won the lottery. Okay, great. That's terrific. Buy me lunch. But if they say, oh yeah, I get a disability income from the VA every month, it's in addition to my current paycheck, and you say, I don't know why you deserve that. I work hard and we're the same here at work and you're getting extra money for this. And you say it's tax-free? Oh my gosh. No, I hate that. I'm against that. That's terrible. You don't look disabled enough to be getting any money. You should stop that. I'm going to report you. Whatever. Well, here's the point. Disability is not always visible. There are certainly people who are disabled, and you can tell. They're missing limbs. They are seriously physically affected in a variety of different ways. And of course, it's a horrible thing. You see somebody who's in a wheelchair due to an accident or due to their military experience, and your heart goes out to them. And if you find out they're getting a disability income, man, more power to them, right? That's easy to understand. But when we find out that somebody is disabled and getting a VA disability, maybe let's say for PTSD, right? PTSD is in here. So you don't walk with a limp because you have PTSD. Maybe you don't leave your house much, but people don't know that. And then when you do leave your house, maybe you do something to help your PTSD, like you force yourself to be a little more social. Maybe that's part of your therapy. Maybe you're trying to keep yourself in good physical condition, so you're working out at a gym. And you find out this guy next to you who's pumping iron for several hours is getting a VA disability. And you think to yourself, what? They don't look disabled. What's going on here? They're defrauding the system. They're cheats. That's what's happening. They're stealing taxpayer money. And again, it's because not all VA disabilities are visible. Not all disabilities are visible. So in some ways, this message is going out to non-veterans. This message is going out to people who do not have a disability. Sir or ma'am, don't judge things you don't understand. And trust me, you don't understand. If you seriously think that a veteran is committing fraud, and you have proof of this, you can call the 800 number. I'm going to put it in the description. And you can report that suspected fraud, and the VA will investigate it. And if that veteran is indeed committing fraud, well, you've done your part as a citizen. Citizens arrest! And you're going to make sure that that taxpayer money is not being wasted. Yay, you. But you better be sure that you're speaking the truth and not just your hunch. He doesn't look disabled to me. Buddy, that's not a standard. There's lots of disabilities that you can't detect. Nobody can detect. It's all happening here. That's still a disability. But he's 100% disabled, and he can still go to the gym. He can still go to the golf course. He can still take a vacation with his wife. Oh, so your opinion is that if a person is drawing a VA disability, they should stay in their house like a miser, like a pauper, like a hermit, never come out, and when they do come out, they should look miserable. They should absolutely not be enjoying their life. That's what your idea of a VA disability pension is? Wow. Interesting thought. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say veterans are entitled to live their life however they wish. They are not entitled to commit fraud. No. And if they're claiming they can't lift 10 pounds and they get a disability based on that, and yet they're at the gym bench pressing 800 pounds. Can you bench press 800 pounds? I don't know. I can't. But if that's the case, then yeah, it sounds like maybe they are committing fraud. On the other hand, if their 100% rating is for something like sexual assault, PTSD due to sexual assault in the military, right? First, none of your business. None of your business. Second of all, you can't see that. So they're in the gym working out. So they're on the golf course. So they laugh and smile and hang out with their friends. How are they supposed to live their life to make you happy, to make you feel that they're not ripping off the government? No, I think what you have is jealousy. And frankly, it's ugly. This is Bill. I am the Salty Old Marine. Please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Be careful about who you tell about your VA disability, just because. And as always, have a great day.